Hi, my name is Andrew Juiliano. I'm a professional cyclocross rider, but during this last year, during the pandemic, with a lot of races being canceled, I've really gotten into gravel. And part of that has been kind of tweaking my bike and playing with equipment, getting it dialed in for, not just racing, but, spending all day out riding mixed terrain and cruising on gravel. So one of the really cool tools that I've been using this year is the Gravel Floor Drive Pro. Super nice, all machined aluminum, got a really nice Lezyne wood handle, has a laser etched logo, super durable, built to last, kind of like all those Lezyne products. It's a mashup of a high volume and a high pressure pump. So it really is kind of like a gravel bike where it sort of takes the best of both worlds, puts them into one. I love it as a cross racer. I'm always messing around with between 15 and 20 PSI on my race tires. And then these gravel tires, it's nice to just be able to pump them up fast and then really dial in the pressure. For me, I like to run anywhere between 35 and 40 PSI when I'm riding gravel. It's also great because it's got rated up to 100 PSI. So when I go out for a road ride, I'm usually running like 90, 85, 90 in my 28C tires. And so I can use this pump to get it all the way up to that. And it's cool too because you can really play around with pressures and figure out what works best with you when you have confidence in your pump that it's accurate and precise. Every gauge is tested as it comes off the factory floor to within 1.5% accuracy. And that's just not like they take one of the pumps out of every 10. Basically every single pump you get that goes off the factory floor is quality assurance tested to 1.5%. So you can get one of these pumps, you can play around with the pressures and be confident that you are in fact running the pressure that your pump says you are. The gauges on the whole line, whether it's the digital or the analog gauge, which is on the Sport, they're all oversized, so they're easy to see. And then they're also at the bottom of the pump, so that if you happen to knock it over, carelessly or on purpose, the gauge is close to the floor. Physics, I mean, I got an English degree, so I'm not gonna explain this super well. If the gauge is at the top, you're gonna get more force when it whacks the ground, can mess with the calibration. So part of putting the gauge at the bottom is if you are careless with your pump or purposefully destructive, your gauge will remain accurate regardless of what mood you're in. So this Tubeless Chuck is super cool. Lezyne redid it for this pump specifically. And hopefully it'll make its way onto some other pumps too. So basically it's got a valve tightener and loosener. So if you need to make sure your valve core is tight before you thread on the chuck, you can just tighten it down, snug it down with that. And then the other cool thing that this does is the valve core tightener also is a valve core remover. So if you've got a tubeless tire that you're having trouble seating, pop the valve core out right here with this guy. And then you can switch this chuck around to tubeless mode. And then basically this will thread directly onto your coreless valve stem, and then it'll allow the most amount of air to go in. So basically you get a much higher airflow by removing that tubeless valve. So the rate of inflation is higher, and a lot of times that'll be just what it takes to pop that tubeless bead into place. So it's really kind of an all-in-one chuck, which is super cool and replaceable. But if you ever need to replace your chuck, basically just threads on, pop it off, pop a new one in, you can service the pump. It's got replaceable parts, so it's really kind of like you buy one of these pumps and you can keep it rolling as long as you want to. Lezyne Gravel Floor Drive, available now. Lezyne Charles is a very sophisticated chuck. He belongs to a country club. He drinks wine with his pinky up. He keeps the majority of his assets on an island in the Caribbean.